So in the previous lecture, we have created a Django template and we have also passed some context data to it. We have also written some code in the template using a very different Django syntax, and I'm sure that you might be confused looking at the syntax, saying what exactly was that. So the syntax which we had used in that particular lecture was the Django template language, and this is what exactly we are going to learn a little bit more about in this particular lecture. So let's go ahead and learn about the Django templating language, which is nothing but the syntax which we had used in the previous case. So this language was not actually Python, neither was it HTML. This is a specific language used by Django which is called as the DTL or Django template language. So in this lecture, let's learn about DTL in a little bit much more better way so as to understand what it exactly is and how it actually works. So to understand DTL, the first and foremost thing which you need to understand is you need to understand what exactly is a templating engine. Now, to be able to render templates in Django app, we need something which is called as a templating engine. Now, with Django, you can use multiple templating engines like the Django templating engine, or another popular engine which is called as the Jinja 2, which is also a templating engine which you can use with Django. Now apart from that, Django also provides us with its own default templating engine, which is the DTL, which stands for Django template language. Now the Django template language actually has its own syntax, the one which we have used in the previous case. And hence it's sort of like having its own programming language which defines its own syntax. Now as you can see, this was the syntax from that example, and we won't jump into much depth about that, but we will surely learn a few things to understand the syntax. So first of all, we will learn how to exactly define a variable in DTL. So as you can see, this thing right here, which is the item.id here, is nothing but it's actually a variable. So whenever you want to define a variable in DTL, you just need to make sure that you define a variable in between these two curly braces right here. So you need to have two opening curly braces, and then you need to have two closing curly braces whenever you actually want to define a variable. Now another important thing which we will learn about DTL is how to define tags. So whenever you want to write some kind of a programming construct, or whenever you want to write in some control flow logic, you always go ahead and make sure to include that in form of these tags right over here. So whenever you want to use tags, you define those tags by using an opening curly bracket, a %sign, then a %sign, and a closing curly bracket. So this is how you can go ahead and define tags. So we will be using the Django templating language a lot in the upcoming lectures whenever we go ahead and design these templates. So these are the only two things which you need to remember for now in case of Django template language. That is nothing but how to define the variables and how to define the control flow using these tags right over here. So that's it for this lecture. And this lecture was just to give you guys a brief overview about what this syntax actually was, so that you guys don't get confused about which exact language did we use here. So that's it for this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next one.